Something we can't quite ignore will stir deep within us today. A quiet glance that lingers a little longer. The unspoken truth that suddenly feels heavier. The moment when we realize surface level, superficial, doesn't cut it anymore. Time to dive deep within, dig for the truth, go after the clarity, the understanding, the knowledge, the wisdom. This energy is pulling us closer to what's real, whether it shows up in love, friendships, or even our relationship with ourselves. And we're being asked to look at where we are truly invested and where we've been skimming the surface. And no, it's not about drama. It's about honesty and loyalty, devotion, trust, power. And that kind of truth has the energy to transform everything. So join me as we gain an understanding of how to embrace this energy. And by the end of our time together, it's my hope, my intention that you have the insight, the tools, the wisdom to go forward with a confidence, with clarity, with love. So hi, I'm Tilly. This is Tarot with Tilly. Thank you. Thank you for being here, truly. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for all the love, all the loving support that you send me each and every day. I send it right back to you. You guys rock. You truly do. I know I say it all the time, but I truly mean it each and every time I do. Welcome to your daily focus, September the 26th, 2025. So the 26 energy today. The 26 energy, well, 2 plus 6 is an 8. And the 8 energy is about enhancing, increasing, expanding our wealth, our finances, the growth of our coffers is what I heard. So, but the 26 energy is how we get to the 8. And the 26 energy is more about, yes, we can have those things if we dream it, if we imagine it, if we start to make a workable plan around it, if we start taking the steps towards it, the actions needed in order to bring it into something tangible, something real, yes, it will be successful. But it will not just land. This is, the 8 energy is wonderful for those things, and we all think in a heartbeat, oh, what if I won the lottery? But it's not the lottery here. It might be for somebody, but the energy is more about your commitment to your goals, to your dreams, to your desires, to growing your wealth, growing your security, growing your stature perhaps within the community. On a day like today, it's our actions, it's our words that actually build the respect people have for us if we walk with a sense of authenticity, integrity, truth. And if we looked at the daily numerology, 9 plus 8 plus 9 is a 26, and 2 plus 6 is an 8. So know that those energies are magnified today. So we can't just go and throw some money at the stock market and expect to, double our money overnight. But we research and we plan and we watch and we learn, and then we take action. And all that needs to happen is for you to start that on a 26 energy in order to bring that into fruition. Okay, it's not like we do it in a day. The energy gives us that starting point, or maybe elevating the path. Okay, Sun is in Libra. Moon is in Scorpio. And then around, like after supper time, like 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it'll start to move into Sagittarius. So today we have the majority of the day as a Scorpio energy, deep energy, truthful energy. Anyways, there's not a lot happening in the sky, and so I dug deep and I saw that the moon and Juno actually meet in the sky in Scorpio. And I know nothing about Juno, so I had to jump down that rabbit hole again. But I do like it because I do learn so that I can tell you that today, with the moon joining with Juno, and Juno is an asteroid that, well, it carries a powerful influence in our lives. What we should be talking about it a lot more is what I got from everything that I learned. Okay. Juno is the keeper of commitment, and not just in romance. Okay. Juno is about our partnerships, our friendships, our family, um, our work friends, even our relationship with ourself. So Juno kind of takes us to a deeper bond. I would have to say takes us to a deeper bond. Okay, we instill new promises and new commitments in our relationships with one another, to ourselves. So where Venus shows us how we love, Juno shows us how to bond that love, that relationship. And really it's how we stay loyal, how we receive loyalty, what we truly need long term. It's like your souls are communicating and building that bond. And it's happening in the last degrees of Scorpio, so the themes will run deep, okay? Scorpio asks for honesty and loyalty and depth. It's not interested in superficial connections or shallow commitments. And when the moon, which rules our emotions, meets Juno here, it stirs something within us that we cannot ignore. Okay, there's questions of trust and devotion and power and equality that start to rise to the surface. And it asks us to look at where we feel safe enough to open fully to another and where we don't. So this isn't casual, a casual influence on us. This is strong energy. It's a call to check in with the bonds in our life that matter most or need to matter most, to recognize them, to understand that perhaps we haven't been giving our all, or we haven't been receiving what we were expecting, which calls upon action, right? But it's to feel where our hearts are truly invested, to honor the promises and the commitments that shape our lives. Are we living up to our commitments within that relationship? Are they? And, there's an intensity to this feeling. It highlights the promises and commitments, and whether it's spoken aloud or carried quietly in the heart, it does call to us to sit in quiet contemplation and understand, perhaps, and maybe have dialogue with that person, whatever it might be. Okay. I mean, Scorpio digs deep. Okay. It's about uncovering the truths when it comes to loyalty and trust and intimacy, equality in our relationships, romantic, platonic, our relationship with ourselves. Don't forget that part. It's about the promises we keep to ourselves and others, but how we honor our needs, how we set boundaries within our own time and our energy and maybe even our resources, how we speak to ourselves. The truth is, every relationship we have is shaped by the one we have with ourselves. So start loving yourself a little bit more if you want those loving relationships to really thrive. And, we may feel drawn to assess what we're truly committed to in love and friendships, family, ourselves. Maybe today is the day we tell somebody that we value them, that we're glad that they are a part of our life. Or maybe it's time to show loyalty through our actions or expect them to show loyalty. And it's not drama here, okay? We will take that back and we will think about how we feel and how we need to react to that before we do react. Okay, but check in with yourself. Juno reflects the promises we've made to ourselves. And are we honoring that truth? Today is so powerful for recommitting to our personal values, our dreams, our goals, our desires, our wants. Okay, and it's about emotional honesty, inner reflection. Maybe we'll speak it today. Maybe we'll just acknowledge it today. The truth of what we are truly feeling within. Now, there's a lot of beauty that can be had here and a lot of manifesting beautiful, wonderful, I hear tighter relationships. Tighter. But there's the chance too that jealousy or control issues could arise today. Because we do have Scorpio there, and so in Scorpio, the moon and Juno, they intensify the emotions around loyalty. And if trust feels shaky in a relationship, we may start to have some insecurities about that relationship. Okay, so the first thing, we either want to control the situation, but control is not the same as commitment. Or we could feel the urge to retreat rather than to face what's real, what's blatantly in front of us, because it's easier, because at least we know what to expect, instead of expecting more from that relationship. Ask yourself, where am I being asked to go deeper in my commitment? To myself, in a friendship, in a relationship, in a partnership, within the family, within the community, within the workspace? Today's energy pulls us into the heart of our commitments. And the moon meeting Juno in Scorpio brings honesty, intensity, and clarity. I'm telling you, people, I'm going to start watching what Juno's doing a lot more often, because here we are at the end of this. So we've probably had a lot of this going on, and, I wasn't telling you about it because I didn't know. Now that I know, we'll be able to handle Juno much better, because it's a lot of our life is our community and how we interact with our community and how we interact with ourselves. Okay. The promises we make to our own growth and healing and joy are just as important as the vows we keep in love and friendship. So today is a reminder that when we deepen our relationship with ourselves, every other bond we share grows stronger. And the more we show up for our own truth, the more authentic we can be in what we give and receive. This is about choosing loyalty. Loyalty to the life you are building for yourself. One moment at a time. Okay, let's go to the cards. Oh, I forgot to check. Shoot. Well, I guess it was supposed to remain a mystery to us. Let's find out what our underwriting energy is for today, our underlying energy. Look at that, the Two of Pentacles. Any decision is a good decision. Any decision is a good decision. It takes you one step closer to the successes, to the joys, to the happiness, to the enrichment of life, is what I'm hearing. This is when we have to make decisions. We have to get off the fence. We have to decide one way or another. So today it's about our relationships with people. Are these healthy relationships we're in? Do they raise us up? Are they loyal? Or when you tell them something, do they go all over and blab all your news to everybody? Oh, don't tell anybody, but guess what they just told me? Are they those people? Or is it when you phone them and you just got their answering machine, you hung up and they phoned you right back to see if everything's okay, what you wanted, or just to hear your voice? It's about making the decision. It's about stepping forward or stepping back. But no longer can we sit on the fence because, we have an opportunity here to grow and strengthen the relationships we want to grow and strengthen, and to identify the relationships that are actually pulling us down today. We have the Emperor. The Emperor is the plan. Okay, this might go more towards the numerology. That's what I first heard, at least, is this is the planner. Okay, if you want the great abundance in your life, if you want the prosperity in your life, if you want to step into true successes, whether that is a career move or a new business, or that business finally taking root and propelling itself forward, catapulting is the word I heard. Or maybe it's a relationship that you want to grow stronger and deeper and more intimate is what I heard. So, okay. This is, we are highly intuitive when this card comes out. We are highly diplomatic. So know that if we just take a little bit of hindsight on the conversations we want to have, it will come out in a very diplomatic way, where we're not trying to force or control, but we're trying to co-align. Co-align. Is that a word? They say it is. Okay, the Two of Cups. Two of Cups is back. We're getting twos on the board. Very much about partnerships, new beginnings, new starts, new people coming into our life. Or we see people in a new way, a new perspective, perhaps. And the Seven of Cups. And this isn't a time to knee jerk, okay? This isn't a time to sit there and you're listening to a friend talk and all of a sudden you've forget this relationship. You go stomping off and anger, and they're like, what did I say? Like, what did I do? Like, they have no idea why you just got up and frustrated walked away or something. This is about or you just decided to embrace that relationship, and you say the big I love you and they say thank you. Because we didn't think it through. We didn't take the time to really investigate how we wanted to present ourselves, how we wanted to show ourselves, how we were going to show those things about ourselves to them without actually naming it. And then talking about the expectations back and receiving, and what we receive in love and support, loyalty, commitment. So take your time, really think it through. The Ancient Stones. I'm glad you're enjoying the deck. I am too. At first I thought they were a little pale, but really they're not. The main images seem to stand out. Watch, we'll get one today that's so foggy you can't see anything. But you see it just as well as I do. And I love the research they put into this deck in order to bring us some knowledge and some rabbit holes for us to jump down if we so desire. So let's get the card here. Oh my gosh, it's fighting with me. The other one wanted to come. Scrying. Trust your visions, intuition, and plant seeds. So I think this takes us more into the energy of the week rather than today, but we'll see what the book says and the energy they want us to receive. But I would think more with all the activity, and we talked about all the activity the sun has had in our lives over the last week, with starting with the solar eclipse, and what was it? We talked to Saturn, we talked to Uranus, we talked to Pluto, we talked to Neptune. I know that we had the equinox in there as well. So, and it is about planting the new seeds. Okay, changing the seasons of our life, allowing that to happen. So, trust your vision, your intuition, and plant the seeds. Okay, let's see look at that beautiful rainbow aura. It's kind of like when you start staring at this, you start seeing so much more of the image too. It's like it does come to life if you meditate And then you see other things in there because I'm seeing a whole bunch of things. I'm seeing a man praying over two people. I'm seeing a falcon. I'm seeing a lion, or yeah, I would say a lion, or the face of a lion. I'm seeing all kinds of stuff. I don't know what you guys are seeing. And there's this beautiful aura. Is that a necklace hanging from the person praying over two almost heads? I see heads. Pretty interesting, I must say. Wow, didn't expect all that to come out, but there we are. Okay, so we'll watch this deck a little closer and see if that is the case. Are we getting anywhere near here? I got impatient and flew right by it. Okay, scrying. So I'll hold that up for you. Scrying is a divination practice used by wise ones in the world all over. Blah, blah, blah. Let's try that again. Wise ones, used by the wise ones world over throughout history. It involves focusing the gaze on an object, for example, stones, crystals, and interpreting the symbols and the images that arise. Scrying is used with the intention of receiving visions, clarity, or revelations, or simply to invite inspiration It's a form of psychic seeing, looking deeply and entering a state where we pay attention to what is being shown or revealed to us through our intuitive senses. The scrying card is a call to trust your intuitive abilities and what your intuition is telling you. You have been receiving visions lately that were difficult to ignore, perhaps, or you've been receiving them but not acting on them. This is a sign to begin to trust your visions and to potentially develop them even more. One of the best ways to trust your intuition is to act on it when you receive it. The more we act on it and receive confirmation, the more confident we become. You may be called to find structured ways to develop your psychic seer abilities through training or your own experiences and exercises. Perhaps you've even been called to work with the stones through scrying. To do this, find a stone or crystal, soften your gaze, and really connect with the consciousness of it. Merge with the stone and let it reveal to you what you need to see, hear, feel, experience. And that's one thing that people often forget is when they're doing something like this, to scan their body slowly. Okay, this ring. Okay, whenever I'm that one there. Okay, and so I'll tell people, to when they start talking about stones, and I'll say, okay, well, you wonder about the power. Does that stone have power? And I ask people to put their finger on there, make a connection, and close their eyes, and just slowly scan their bodies. And when you do, by doing this with this stone, okay, everybody feels at least a flutter in their heart chakra. Everybody. There hasn't been anybody where some are like it went like right through them kind of thing, but it was the heart center. But some are just a little flutter. Some feel a vibration going across their chest or up and down. So the power of stones. And learn how to cleanse your stones and what stones you can add water to, ones that you don't want to put water on. What the I've got some two stones here, and I actually use them for scrying because they're just phenomenal. Okay, and these are just grounding stones. I just want to, they've just been sitting there, so haven't been using these guys in a while. Wasn't expecting to bring them out, but I've got that one, and I've got this one. Okay, and I use them, hand in hand, and I hold them, and I look at them, and I listen to what my heart is trying to tell me. Try things like that. Be amazed at the information you get. You'll be amazed, and it's free. It's free. All you need to do is have a rock. Okay. Uh, Or you could ask for the intention of, right? If you have, you want to ground yourself, then you take something that's black. Or maybe you like a shiny or black, or maybe you want more happiness in your life. So grab like some citrine, concentrate on that and looking at that, and allow your focus to. Anyways, I'm babbling. Where were we? Oh yeah, working with the stones. Wow, did I ever get off in a tangent on that one? So sorry, guys. Um, so notice the patterns that form and any images that come to you. You may even not see it in the rock. You may see it in your mind. Allow that. Allow that. Okay. Let the wisdom of the stone or crystal reveal to you what you most need, see, to hear, feel, and see. Okay. Soul inquiry. How are you being called to develop your intuitive abilities? So it might not be with rocks. Okay. It might not be with rocks. But your intuition, how do you work your intuition? There's many, many ways to understand your intuition depending on your strongest gifts that you came here with, your magic, your talents, your abilities. And honing these skills is just like honing any other muscle in your body. The more you work it, the more you see the accomplishments, the stronger it becomes. Okay, let's see what our animals have to say. And we have, look at this, new beginnings. Yeah, this is the sun energy once again, the equinox. And I know it was our fall equinox in the Western Hemisphere, but by removing things in our life, by putting things behind the door in our rearview mirror, it allows us to then make space for those new beginnings that we want to come in. So, and with the solar eclipse, it is about new beginnings. It's a 6-month energy for us, right? A 6-month energy of creating and masterminding and planning and strategizing and acting upon those things step by step. Cleansing, newness, grateful, promise, new birth. You cannot climb a mountain if you will not risk a fall, right? Get out of your comfort zone. Robin tells you it's time now to pull yourself from the sludge of the past, wipe yourself clean, mend the wounds and scratches that occurred through the journey. Your angels and guides will be on hand to help. It's a day to offer your gratitude for what you do have, and for knowing that you won't be let down if you ask, if you believe, if you expect changes to occur in your life. Yes, there isn't everything happens for a reason thinking, even during painful experiences, but loss always evolves into gain of some kind. Have you ever experienced the passing only to hear of an announcement of a pregnancy or a birth? Or broken up with someone to start dating someone so much more compatible for you that you wondered what you saw in that past person? Death of a situation always evolves into a promise of birth and new beginnings. So, exactly as I was saying, the death of a situation allows for the evolving of something new, of the manifestation of a new beginning, a new start. Emotion is truly energy in motion, and since everything is energy, money, love, work, the universe feels the vibration. Remember that. Please remember that. When you're doing intentions and stuff, they don't necessarily hear the words. They hear your voice. They hear your vibration. They hear the music your aura is playing, okay? The universe feels the vibration changing in your thoughts, and it can change it into wonderful things if you allow it to do so. Robins always come back to the same place each springtime. It's nature's way. And Robin may be telling you that you need to review your childhood to see where you may have stored away deep within your soul, to see where there needs to be forgiveness towards yourself. Or maybe you need to look up an old childhood friend. So strong energy today. I'm glad I jumped down that rabbit hole and learned a lot about Juno. I shared so little here, but I didn't want a long video. But yeah, it always ends up being a long video with me because I jabber too much. Anyways, you've got this. You've got this. Okay. And start loving yourself. Thank you so much for all of your you're ordering the journal. I think it's a masterpiece, but I'm a little biased, but I think it's a wonderful tool. And I look at so many of those tools and what I like and what I don't like, and some of them are just flashy pictures with just and nowhere to write, or very brief, small areas. And sometimes I just want to write that one word, absolutely, and I don't need a lot of space. And sometimes I could just go on, and I would love the opportunity to have that. I made it big. I made it in a large print style, so you wouldn't be taking glasses off and on depending on what you were doing. Some of us, I know I wear glasses. I don't wear them here because I don't need to see anything. The book, and I can read close, right? I can read the books and stuff. So, um, anyways, I don't know where I was going. Oh yeah, so just all the things. I love the fact that I got the thick spiral on it, because I hate, every day opening up a book does put wear and tear on the book. So I hate the ones that are glued so tight together and you're trying to pry it apart just so you can write on in it, and then halfway, all of a sudden, all the pages are falling out of it, or it's a thin spiral and the pages rip easily, or the paper's thin and it rips easy, whatever. I tried to make something special just for you. So I will end on that note before I go jabbering off again. Thank you for letting me put in that, that unfiltered plug there at the end, because the important part is I want you to remember, until we meet again, that I love you.